is the Right Guys podcast where frat boys are on fire. And now your hosts, Josh Hammerling and Max McGuire.
Welcome back. Happy Monday. Right
Happy
Guys
Monday.
podcast. My name is Max McGuire here with Mr. Producer Josh Hammerling. Oh, how's your weekend? Good weekend?
Yeah. Had a great ceremony at our school. Gave a bunch. I didn't do it, but we got a bunch of new black belts at the school, and it's always nice when people get there, right? Because it takes about 8 years to really get to black belt and some to be second degree. So yeah, it was great. What'd you do? Anything fun?
Hung out with the kids.
Yeah.
Did some stuff. Nothing too crazy. This is obviously Mother's Day week.
Yeah.
So
keep
probably gonna
it
be a little bit
on
more
the
of a intense weekend.
Do you think your boys will be frat boys someday? Because right now frat boys are all the rage.
I don't think they'll join a frat.
No.
If they go where I went to school, they don't have frats there, so they won't be able to. But there are other clubs and organizations that kind of fill that void. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Ole Miss, University of Mississippi, had a protest.
Yeah.
Very few, a couple dozen leftists showed up at the protest. Decided that they wanted to protest on behalf of Hamas against Israel.
Okay.
Which you can believe whatever you want. Like, you can side with either side. I don't particularly care. It just so happens that the people on this side are the rabid leftists, the ones who are as far left as you can get.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who are chanting death to America. But I guess there's a little asterisk in there because they also want us to pay their student loans off. These are the kinds of people I'm talking about.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
The people who are wearing masks outside in 2024 because of COVID.
I think. Well, are you sure they're just not covering their faces at this point? I mean, there's got to.
I think they are. I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of it.
Just claim I'm just trying to be safe, right? I don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
I just cover my identity up and go do horrible things.
That's a huge part of it, but there was a woman who was arrested. I don't have the video for it, outside Columbia, and when police were taking her in, they ripped off her mask, and she flipped out, screaming, "It's a pandemic! It's a pandemic!"
Oh my God!
So there are those people in it. I also saw another one, which was like a Scooby-Doo mask reveal.
Yeah,
the cops ripped off a mask, and what was underneath? Another mask.
Old man, it's Old Man Winter. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
they ripped off the mask. They ripped off a mask. What was underneath? Another mask. It's like, all right, it's like a Russian nesting doll of masks.
Yeah, double masking. I mean, was that a thing? It was.
Yeah, they were. So this was one side, everyone's favorite, and then they went up against the frat bros.
Oh, good luck.
And this is the kid who had a T-shirt. I hate terrorists. I hate terrorists. Just as straightforward as it gets. And you can see here, already early in here, we have an appearance from our main character. Some people know her as Lizzo, but her real name is Jalen R. Smith, master's student in journalism at Ole Miss. So that's who you're dealing with. And then these frat bros, they just wanted to have a party. They just wanted to wave the American flag, sing the national anthem. You know what it actually was, Josh? It was those fraternity brothers. Where was it? UNC that defended the flag.
Yes.
I think it was UNC. They defended the flag against the leftists, and they made sure the flag stayed up. And they got like a couple $100,000 to throw a huge party. So all of a sudden,
and a concert.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, there's not saying that it's the driving force, but there is a financial incentive here, right? That has created financial incentive. If you're a fraternity and you go there and you do something heroic, you could actually not like financially benefit, but you get a really cool party out of it, right?
Yeah.
So there's always that in it too. How many of these people actually believe in this? How many of these people just see that it's the thing to do? We don't know. But they're the more patriotic side. American flags, Star Spangled Banner, and the like. Meanwhile, they're going up against Jalen R. Smith.
Affectionately, just creative as the others.
Affectionately known in the crowd as Lizzo, which I found very interesting. I think it's very interesting that the left jumped to that being an insult.
Right. When did Lizzo represent?
I was under the impression I was under the impression that Lizzo was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I guess we're going to see this trend happen over and over again as we talk about this. The left are going to say, that's racist. And you look and say, what do you mean? Well, they're the ones who think about it, so they're the ones who see it. So that's Jalen R. Smith. You can see that she is more in the foreground now than she was earlier. She was back with all of her motley crew back here, but she's actually walked up at this point to the barricade. The barricade was put in place to separate the protesters from the counter-protesters, the creatures from the frat bros. And she not only went up to the barricade to give them the finger, but she actually busted through it like the Kool-Aid Man and walked on the other side and started approaching them even more. Yeah.
Brave.
So I want to show, we're going to play a couple videos just so people can see what this atmosphere kind of looks like. And then we're going to get into the altercation that in the span of 24 hours went from look at those frat boys defending America to, oh my God, the worst racial microaggression we've ever seen, according to the left.
Yeah.
And we're going to ask the question, was it racist? So here's the Star Spangled Banner. Just sing a Star Spangled Banner. Much louder than the counter protesters.
Yeah.
And you can see Jalen R. Smith. She is live streaming. The interesting thing is I do access her Facebook page. Live stream wasn't up there. So maybe she has a different social media account that we don't know about. Maybe there's a TikTok. I didn't look on TikTok, but I did notice that some of her more risque pictures of like, hey, going out tonight and what she's wearing a bra. Those pictures were miraculously seem to have been deleted in between when I prepare for this podcast and we're live. So it looks like she's deleting things as she realizes people are looking at her Facebook page. There's nothing wrong with that. But you see, she's doing a live stream as they're singing the Star Spangled Banner, really animated. And she's there with I believe that woman is a local reporter. So take that. Okay, so the Star Spangled Banner, they're getting into it, defending the flag. Because remember, this is a big, potentially money-making enterprise for a frat. You show your patriotism in the face of this lunacy.
Yeah.
Get a couple $100,000 to throw the biggest rager of all time.
John Ridge shows up, puts on a concert, right? I mean, that's the goal.
Yes. So as Lizzo / Jalen R. Smith decides that she can't have these frat bros singing the national anthem, she decides to leave the safety of her critter squad and go up to the barricade, which understandably immediately subjected her to ridicule.
Yeah.
I went through this video and I didn't see them singling her out when she was in the background. The minute that she went into the foreground and started giving them the finger is when you start hearing them launching every type of insult you can think of at her. Yeah. And so viewer and listener discretion advised. This is going to be one of those podcasts we're going to have to label explicit for the audio because there's some stuff in there. Here's them. I think this is them chanting Lizzo. Oh, nope. Wrong one.
That's a great picture though.
Here we go.
Lizzo, 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 Lizzo. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. And fuck you, bitch.
Cop space.
So not nice.
Yeah.
We can say it's not nice. Saying F you, not nice. Not going to defend them. That's not a nice thing to say.
No.
You don't get expelled for that. Not nice. Certainly not nice.
She did walk up to the railing and flip them off.
Yes.
And that's gonna cause a reaction, which you hear, right? They're waiting for that. The bros wanted it to happen, right? Come over here, confront us, right? Start rattling the cage, right? That's all that's going on here. Everybody's saber rattling, right?
Oh, don't say rattling cages. That could be monkey talk. We can't say that. We can't say rattling cages.
Yeah, wow, I didn't even think about that.
See how dangerous this is?
I know, this is getting out of control, Max. What can I say?
There's so many sayings and idioms that are just used in day-to-day life that if a leftist hears it, then that's racist.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a microaggression.
So they weren't nice to her about that. They also challenged her to do a push-up, which wasn't very nice.
Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet.
$100 if you can do a push-up.
You just listen to people laughing.
$100 the other guy just, give me one!
Right?
Like the most aggressive trainer. Just give me one. She's not giving them a push-up.
No.
Which again, not nice. I've been trained by the mainstream media to believe that Lizzo is beautiful. My main question is whether her body style is naturally attainable or whether there's some kind of performance enhancing stimulants you need to get that build. You don't want to be mean to her.
No.
But she did enter the Thunderdome. I won't say walked into the cage. Can't say that.
Yeah.
She did essentially enter the Thunderdome. You'll notice that the frat bros, they're not at the barricade trying to get them.
No.
They're content with just singing the national anthem, waving the flag. They don't care if they have to interact with any of them. It was after she instigating came up that this really went downhill. Really went downhill very, very, very fast. And we've seen these kind of interactions go very, very poorly. I don't know if this is the same university or if it was a different university, but look at this example of one of these protests of the frat bros going up against one of the creatures.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Hey, fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
God.
So again, bad language, but she did just assault him. We've covered this on the show. Throwing water at someone, not a deadly weapon, but it is technically assault. Is technically assault. Not see cannonball. That's not nice.
Cannonball.
Cannonball. That's not nice.
I mean,
Cannonball.
fat jokes are not funny.
Cannonball has been admonished. You've been admonished.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what's going on. It's very, very tense.
Yeah.
Lizzo, Jalen R. Smith, decides that she's not going to obey police commands. She's not going to obey the barricades. And she is going to bust through, as I said, like the Kool-Aid Man. And she's going to try and walk towards the frat boys, who, again, were content with just sitting in the wings singing the national anthem.
Yeah.
And this is where the main video comes into play, where we have apparently, unbeknownst to us, experienced the worst racism ever. Here we go.
Oh, she's getting closer. Is that it right there? Is that what people are losing their mind about?
That is what people are losing their mind about. 1.2, 1.3 seconds of this kid going who, and doing a dance, which in fairness seems to resemble some type of ape or simian kind of creature. I watched Planet of the Apes. This was all going on this weekend. Yeah. I say, no, I'm going to watch Planet of the Apes, get a little bit of a background information. I watched all of them, including the weird ones from the 70s. With the telekinetic mole people. It's a bad look.
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
It is. But I will point out there's a lot of restraint here.
Yes.
On the frat boys' part. They have not moved at her, right? They have a guy that looks like he's telling them to get back, right? Like they went here with the plan. As crazy as this looks, right? And as wild as it may seem, they're under control here, right? All you're getting is a bunch of verbal jabs, right? And they're exchanging verbal jabs here. Everything's fair game when you start something like this.
The way that the left has described this, you would have think that they lynched her.
Really?
And so when you watch this video and you realize that she is the one who instigated this, she's the one who went up to the barricade, flipped them off, and then went beyond it to try and taunt them.
Yes. Which is an instigation.
If this kid did monkey noises, which again, I'm not entirely sure that was monkey noises.
I'm not sure either,
if you listen, I mean that legitimately. If you listen immediately after he does that, there is a chant within the crowd, really reminiscent of like a sports team, fans, who, that might sound like a monkey noise. It isn't, right? Just guttural hooting
Yeah.
while beating your fist into the air generally isn't like an ape impression. I want to play it again. Listen to it. It's right after he does it. Hear it? Hoo, hoo,
Yeah.
hoo, hoo, hoo. That, the cadence of that is not monkey noises. I can definitively say that is not monkey noises. You hear it here. That second one. First one, I don't know.
I'd be interested to go watch some Ole Miss games and the video footage to see if this pops up, right? Because if this is something that they do regularly and the left tries to paint it as something that it's not, then, obviously they're desperate to make this look racist, right? I mean, that's what they're at. No matter what it is, it has to be racist. Everything's at its core is racist here, is the claim, right? And then I would be serious. I have my doubts whether it is like monkey taunting.
Monkey noises.
Because of that. You know what I mean?
Let's presume it is monkey noises.
Okay.
How do we know that the monkey noises are about race and not about the fact that she has a body type of a mountain gorilla? And I mean that completely in fairness.
Yeah.
Like she's a big girl, right?
Yeah. How do we know that's not like a Sasquatch noise? That'd be the other thing, because she might fit right in there. Right.
It's the dancing. It's this.
That,
if he didn't do the dancing, he could have probably played it off. If he didn't do the dancing, he probably could have played it off. But here's the other thing. Even if he did do monkey noises, again, he's admonished. It's just a really tasteless joke. If you've watched these protests, you've heard countless of these leftists chanting death to America, death to Israel, from the mountains to the sea, Palestine will be free, which is literally calling to drive an entire Jewish nation into the sea, eradicating them, right? It's call for genocide.
Yeah.
Literally saying, I hate white people, kill all the white people are terrible. In the backdrop of that, monkey noises feels like it's just a flash in the pan, right? It feels like it's insignificant in the context of a communist movement advocating genocide, right? Monkey noise is admonished. I don't like racism. I don't support racism. Yeah. I'm not racist. Josh, you're not racist. It doesn't feel like you destroy someone's life if they make a tasteless racist joke against a protester among a movement that one of their chants calls for genocide. It feels like you're allowed to not. It feels like you get a pass or a slap on the wrist. You're admonished. It doesn't feel like it should be the end of this kid's college career, and yet that's what they're calling for. That's what the left's calling for.
Yeah, like you're saying before, how can you have a group that's actively calling for the death of Jews and nobody bats an eye at it, as though that's just normal and it's okay behavior? But if this guy, if he is doing some sort of weird racial joke, that's the thing that grabs them. That's the thing that makes them mad and infuriates them. I mean, just what an absolute joke. I mean, it's pale in comparison if that's the case. Because maybe if he did, all right, tasteless joke, but nobody dies. He's not calling for the death of anyone. He's not trying to harm her. He's showing restraint, actually. Just because you're mocking somebody does not mean that you're attacking them physically or personally, right? You've got a bunch of frat boys partying. So
a bunch of frat boys.
Why does anybody care about the people calling for death?
And listen, like what's happened is when you have these protests, the other side will single out the race or ethnicity of the pro-Israel protesters. And that's when they say, oh, white people suck. White people, I hate white people. We have a clip. I don't know if I want to play it. I don't know if I really want to have the word be played, but there was a protest at UCLA and there was a black Jewish man there taking video. And one of the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine protesters called him the N-word.
Oh my.
So like in the world of monkey noises, like where does the N-word fall? Right? Where does the N-word fall in this world of monkey noises?
where does it fall? Like we just had an example of a leftist literally in a monkey mask throwing a egg at a Republican candidate for president.
Yeah.
Right? That literally happened. But
No,
nope.
that's not.
Nope.
Because it happened to a conservative. That's all it is. A Republican candidate, right? That's the time it only counts. Apparently, you're racist only if you're Republican.
Yeah.
And
Larry Elder, a black man, can have a leftist with pink hair wearing a monkey mask throw an egg at him. And that is nothing. That doesn't even move the needle. Right? And that removes all doubt. It's a monkey mask. And she assaulted him.
yeah,
Pelted him. There's no
That
doubt. There's no like,
crazy.
I wonder what he meant. No, that happened. And that didn't even move the needle. But with the monkey noises, that is apparently the absolute worst. This is one of the tweets that was really getting a lot of play over the weekend. This is from Bishop Talbert Swan, who is a race hustler. He loves to jump on these things. He says, a gang of wild, uncouth, vile, white supremacist thugs at the University of Mississippi singled out a black female student protester, spewed racial epithets and other pejoratives, chanted Lizzo and made monkey noises. This is the white male in America.
Ooh, kind of a broad stroke there.
That's a lot of assumptions. Like if this was a court case, it would be objection. Those facts are not in evidence. These are a bunch of frat bros singing the Star Spangled Banner. These aren't white supremacists. Like let's chill out. Chill out, Bishop Talbert Swan.
Yeah.
And the idea that they singled her out when it is she's the one who approached them, who went past the barricade. She broke the rules.
Yeah.
If she didn't cross the barricade and start marching towards them, that never would have happened. Barricades are there to separate these groups to make sure nothing gets out of hand. And I'm not going to victim shame because she might have been the recipient of a monkey noise or two. And that's really, really hard to handle. As she put on her Facebook page, Jalen R. Smith, she thanks everyone for checking in on her. It really means a lot. It really means a lot. It's almost like, you know that Facebook meme, like Mark's safe from like Hurricane Katrina, Mark's safe from the tsunami. She should have Mark safe from monkey noises, just so everyone knows, because she's probably getting tons of calls. But in this, she admits that she was bad too. My strong language used in the live was not a reflection of the pro-Palestine protesters. The language was a reflection of the hurt and the anger and the fear that has all been too familiar to people of color. Why? Because she heard the Star Spangled Banner? I know that I stooped down to the agitator's level when I responded that the way I did. I won't apologize for that, but as I mature, I will find better ways to manage conflict. As she matures, she's a master's student, second-year master's student, going up against freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors in college.
Well, Max, we have the video of the alleged monkey stuff. Where's her lives? What did she say? I want to know the language that was used because we can't find it now, right? Now, what was she saying? Right? Because if you're going against groups and you're at a protest, you've got to counter protest. You've got to understand that anything goes when you're out there and you have the right to free speech in this country, right? I mean, as long as you're not trying to actively harm somebody or calling for their death like the left do, everything's on the table, and it's going to be on the table because if anybody knows,
you don't want
argument, you know how it goes.
There are certain words that generally are not allowed. Like if they had been chanting the N-word at her, then obviously there would have been terrible repercussions and consequences for them. The problem is they're taking these microaggressions, they're taking hooting and hollering. Like it's called hooting and hollering for a reason. The hoots is hoo, 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 hoo. The monkey noises, they're equating that
with the N-word, that they might as well have just been shouting the N-word. The way that this has been covered. I mean, like, this is the NAACP for the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss. They put out a statement. In light of Chancellor Glenn Boyce's communication delivered on May 3rd, the University of Mississippi's chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People hereby requests the expulsion of individuals identified as the primary perpetrators of racist remarks and actions that constitute derogatory and offensive behavior. And they doxed them. They listed the names.
Oh my.
James Staples, he is the alleged monkey noise maker. He's the alleged monkey noise maker. But they also singled out the two gentlemen in the American flag overalls who did not. I went through it, Josh. I went through it, and I did not hear them make any racist comments. They made some Lizzo comments. They made some "you're fat" comments.
Yeah.
But there wasn't any racist comments from them. They were the ones singing the Star Spangled Banner. And then they named Rouse Davis Boyce, another one in the overalls, saying that he was just as bad as well. They want them expelled. Josh, they want them expelled. And the full statement that they put in their Instagram post was they request the expulsion. He used racial slurs, intimidation, and vulgar behavior. I didn't hear racial slurs. Now, I'm not going to put it past them that maybe something was said in the throng of people, right?
Right.
I wouldn't put it past them. But Josh, I've listened to that video. I've played that video 100 times. Mainly because I needed to know exactly how long the monkey noises lasted for. I had a little stopwatch.
So if there had been a lot of racial slurs in there with all the video that's being shot, where is it then?
That would have been
for me.
Yes.
If
they were shouting the N-word, if they were using other slurs, and there are other slurs. And listen, that's part of Mississippi's history. They have a lengthy thesaurus for other words that they use. Yeah. There's no shortage. It's available on the internet. I didn't hear him. Yeah. I didn't hear him. And certainly not from the two gentlemen who were wearing the American flag overalls.
Yeah. Lizzo! Because they're just kind of going after her body. Right? Here she comes. And all they're doing is clapping.
He is nodding his head, clapping, and just saying, yeah. They're not the monkey noises. I paused it around the monkey noises.
I know.
He isn't saying, all he's saying is, yeah. And the NAACP wants this kid kicked out of school. Expelled.
Well, what about all the people that were calling for the death of Jews? Should they be expelled?
No, that's different. That's different.
What?
That's different with a capital D.
Oh, wow. But people were calling for people to die. And then that goes beyond racism. That goes to genocide, right? How many times in her video, and I'd love to see it, was anybody on the frat boy side being called something like white epithets, right? You know, we heard the old school crackers and stuff like that. That pops up all the time, right? It has the same weight and magnitude as the N-word. I don't care what people say because it is used in the pejorative on white people. So you know, when you call somebody a cracker, that's insulting, right?
It means something.
They use that language.
I didn't see it. Let's listen to a little bit more.
Yeah.
Again, we just saw the guy in the overalls. All he was doing saying, yeah.
Yeah.
He might actually get the award for the least creative taunts.
Yeah.
He's just yelling, yeah. She's the one screaming, get your hands off me. Get your hands.
Well, she's walking towards a bunch of frat guys. She should back off for safety. Who's this lady?
Oh, maybe that was
her show up.
Bye. Maybe that's the racial slur. The bye.
Bye. What is that?
Lock her up. I hear that.
It's like a Hillary Clinton thing, right? You'll lock her up.
See ya later. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it at all.
And it would be easy to go to that, though. It'd be so easy to go to the racial slurs, right? But they're not.
Yes.
And I don't hear them. And if we did hear them, why haven't we heard them?
If the racial slurs were there, and maybe they're in the throng of people, in the noise. If they were there, you would have seen the audio engineers isolate that word.
Right.
And you would have seen it slow motion. It would have highlighted the person, right? And it would have been there.
NBC, MSNBC.
Yeah.
It would have been on CNN. It would have been everywhere.
Yeah. No, instead it's the monkey noises, because that's what they've got. They've got the monkey noises. Luckily for us, at other schools, the other side is actually much more straightforward. We don't have to wonder, was it monkey noises or was it a sports related chant? Was it just a pump up hooting and hollering? Here's protesters at UCLA just coming out with it, that they don't like white people.
You're just a white person. You're a white person. We don't like white people. Free Palestine!
Very strange for a white person to say, you're just a white guy. We don't like white people. Mm-hmm. But that's it. Now, in the world where racism expressed between one side and the other leads to complete cancellation, means they can't be hired, they can't be in school, they're fired, they're expelled. If monkey noises gets someone expelled, and it did, it got him not out of school, but the kid was kicked out of his frat. Kicked out of his frat over this. Ouch. Over what may or may not have been monkey noises, right? If that is actionable, where is someone coming out and saying, we hate white people?
Where's the action on it? What are they going to do about it?
I don't know.
There's going to be silence.
There's going to be silence. Here is, I wasn't able to get this person's name. Again, they're wearing a mask outdoors. It's hard to get their facial expressions, but this is one of the leaders of the UCLA Divestment Coalition. That's who she's been reported as. And she takes offense to the fact that she's doing a live stream and there just so happens to be a white person in front of her.
Has the audacity to be in front of me while I'm fucking recording this shit. What the fuck? This is actually fucked up. I hate white people. I swear to God, if they write about me, I'm calling it racist because.
So it's not just that she says, I hate white people. Why? Because someone's standing in front of her when she's trying to record something. She then says, I hope they don't write about me. And if they do, I'm just going to call them a racist. So she's shown both sides of it, right? Yeah. She's expressed her own racial thoughts, racial animus. I hate white people. And then simultaneously said, if you dare call her out on it, she will brand you a racist.
And that seems to be the goal these days.
All in one clip.
Everything is racist, right? And there's such a fear of being labeled a racist because you lose your job, you get kicked out of your frat, right? You lose so much. And it just takes one tool like this to try to do that. But here it is, the transparency of it. So where was everyone going after her? Where was the outrage on the statements she's making? Because she's flat out saying it's in vogue based on their race.
Yes, that is the definition of racism, right? That you hate. Well, they would say racism is having structural power to hurt a minority group. She's a racist, right? Yeah. She is she's absolutely prejudiced, right? Yeah. And if she had the power to actually force this person to move, she would do it, and she would be discriminatory in doing so, right?
Yeah.
But that's in vogue, Josh. That's in vogue. Have you gone to Amazon lately? There is no shortage of anti-white books, all on bestseller lists.
Yeah.
Dying of whiteness, white like me, uprooting racism, white awareness, white lies, white trash, angry white men, the possessive investment in whiteness, white shift, white privilege, being white, being good, seeing white. I mean, it's all white.
Yeah.
You get the impression that if anyone in this country hates someone on the basis of their race, Like, you're not seeing best-selling books just saying N-word, N-word, N-word. You're not seeing it, right?
Yeah.
You see this, though. You absolutely see this.
And this feels totally institutionalized. I mean, you
Oh,
see
it
it on Amazon, anti-whiteness. You go to universities, there's anti-whiteness. You go to any company that has a DEI standard has been typically anti-white. Which one of the major airlines said that they were getting rid of people just to hire people of color?
Yes.
And that's anti-white itself. So there is institutional racism. It's just racism against white people. And
There was a
people are gonna
rumor.
hate me for that.
There was a rumor floating around. I don't know if it ever got resolved, that one of the major airlines had a landing, I believe it was in Denver, a hard landing that almost totaled the plane. And the hard landing was performed by a pilot who, according to the rumor, did not meet the minimum skill requirements to be a pilot, but was brought through anyway because they met diversity requirements.
Unreal.
That was a rumor floating around. I don't know if that ever got resolved, but that's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying.
Because what happens if that's your heart doctor next time, right? Or your pediatrician?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or your accountant, right? your tax person, right? I got the job because of the color of my skin. I want people in there that can do the job. I don't care what color you are, right?
No,
I just want the best of the best.
Don't care at all. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what box do I check at a university when I apply that says that where it says white that I get an advantage, right? What box when I check male does that give me an advantage in the university system? Because if you go to universities now, when I was there, it's almost all female and minority dominated.
It's the opposite.
Completely
it's the opposite.
dominated.
It's the opposite. Like, I'm part Native American, and I followed the lead set by Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
I on all my government documents, I list that I'm white and part Native American. So I am. At school, I tried to join the minority club. It was called a HANA. They didn't want me in. It's fine. It's no big deal. I tried to join it a little bit in jest, but whatever. Being white is not a benefit in college admissions at all. The only thing worse than being white applying to college is being Asian. That's the only thing worse in terms of the discriminatory practices of college admissions.
And Asians are called white, which is starting to blow my mind. There are groups that they're just throwing the word white out to try to make it stick because they're trying to create these false narratives, man.
Well,
it's insane.
At first it was black, and then they started saying brown people of color, right?
Yeah.
Because they want to basically build up that voting block of it being Hispanics, Asians, African Americans. If you work at a company that does hiring and they tell you that they want diversity hiring, and you bring them an Indian applicant, they're going to tell you that's not diversity hiring, right? Even though it technically meets the specifications of diversity hiring. No, we all know what it's all about. We all know what it's all about. And I don't want to, we got to get past her, Miss Jalen R. Smith, but I would be remiss, Josh, if I didn't show you a little bit of her TED Talk, because she did a TED Talk.
Oh.
Yes. Jalen R. Smith, the instigator. The boys didn't instigate this. Monkey noises aside, monkey noises are admonished. They have been admonished.
Yes.
They didn't start this. I don't even think you can say they finished it. It just was kind of like, okay, everyone go to your side. You're done now. She 100% instigated that encounter by crossing that barricade and confronting them. Well, she did a TED Talk, Josh, a TED Talk. And what do you think her TED Talk was on?
Diversity, DEI stuff.
Close. It was basically, if you don't like African American women's hair, you're a racist. And don't
That's
you dare
a TED Talk?
Yeah, don't you dare ask if it's a weave or if it's real. Don't you dare do that, because that is racism personified. So yeah, that was her TED Talk, and you can find this Jalen R. Smith TED Talk online about don't ask me if I'm wearing a weave. It's 10 minutes long. I don't want to play the whole thing, but I want to play a little bit of it so you can get a feel for her 3 rules that she has for people if they want to be woke allies to the Black community, how they should deal with the issue that is on our minds constantly of Black women's hairstyles.
How do we create a world that is more culturally competent to Black women's hair? Luckily, I have a few do's and don'ts. Rule number 1, do not touch our hair without permission.
In fairness, I think that's actually a fair rule.
Well,
I think that
anybody's hair.
yeah, race, ethnicity aside,
Right,
you
yeah.
don't touch people's hair if you don't know them, if you don't have, like, if you're really close to someone, then yeah. But like maybe you're surprising them, you're peekaboo,
Yeah,
who's that? You don't just go up to someone and touch their hair.
Right. It's not like Biden when he's all. Right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. No,
don't
no,
be
no
like the
step.
president.
For we have had lineages of mothers and grandmothers, sisters and aunties that have sown prayers into our scalps.
See, that's where she loses me, because if she just kept it, don't touch people's hair because that's a weird thing to do, I'm on board.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
Don't touch Black women's hair because the aunties have sown the love into their scalp. That's a weird argument,
Yeah.
because it kind of suggests that you can touch anyone else's hair, but you can't touch Black people's hair because the cultural significance of their braids or of their afro, whatever style they're wearing, it's so culturally significant, it's almost sanctified.
But they're not
Hallowed
the
ground.
only group that does braiding and hair coloring and all
No.
that stuff, though.
No.
Like that's been all over the world. I mean, they have found prehistoric
Yeah.
burials where people have had their hair braided.
You telling me the fact that an auntie used to do her hair as a kid doesn't make her hairline hallowed ground? Is that what you're saying, Josh?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, there might be certain braid styles used, but there's no, they don't have a monopoly on it. Lots of people
Again,
have lots of hair.
Don't touch people's hair.
I
it's
agree
weird.
with that one.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. Don't pull a Joe
But-
Biden on that.
But saying you can't touch Black people's hair because the designs are sacred, that's a weird comment.
Well,
That's a
the
weird
next
comment.
Natural step is don't do braids that Black women might use.
Well,
be-
she's not talking about appropriation. She's
Yeah,
talking about
oh.
what you do if you see a Black woman wearing braids or dreads or any of these other designs.
Because no matter
Yeah.
who I see, I don't want to touch their hair. Like
No.
I'm not in practice of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So it's a weird way. Had me in the first half, lost me in the second half of this, right? She keeps going though, and saying that the rest of her rules. Well, let's just listen. She's got rules. In other words, you have to like the hairstyles. If you don't like the hairstyles, you're a racist.
Rule number 2,
Rule number 2.
do not ask us if this is our real hair or a weave.
I never
We
asked
either
you.
really grew it or we really bought it.
Again, I would not walk up to anyone and say, is that your real hair or are you wearing a wig? Or that's a weird thing. Now,
Yeah.
if all of a sudden you're in class with this woman and she comes in one day and her hair is like 20 inches longer,
Yeah.
it's fair to ask her, hey, did you get a weave? Do you get hair extensions?
Yeah.
That's cool.
People do it all the time.
Living a non-racist life does not require that we ignore the basic limitations of how fast human hair grows. If you spontaneously come in with completely different hair, it's not an insult to say, hey, did you get a weave?
Yeah.
What's going on? You're
Maybe
just
you didn't like it,
curious.
you want to know where you got it done. That'd be the
You're
other
just
side.
curious. You're just curious. And Josh, a little bit on the touching bit, I don't think that's a race thing. I think that's just a different thing. I've traveled the world and I've seen white blonde women walk into a Bedouin camp and they touch her hair
Yeah.
because these nomads have seen blonde hair before, sure, but it's not common
Yeah.
It's not common. There's tons of channels of blonde white women going into Saharan Africa tribal villages. And all the kids want to do is they run up and they touch her hair. They've never seen it before.
Yeah.
You ever see a video of a black person in China? They do
Yeah.
the same thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you took an Irish or Scottish white woman or white boy with red hair and put them in the South Pacific on an island that doesn't see that, you get the same thing. It's not a disrespect. It's not a racist endeavor. This is different.
Curiosity.
I've never seen this before. It's curiosity.
Wonderment. Very much.
And she should embrace curiosity. Now, don't touch people's hair. Don't confront them and accuse them of wearing a wig. But she's coming at this really weirdly. Like, the goal should be to educate people on the hairstyles and inform them on what it's all about and foster that curiosity, right? Not to say you're racist if you ask questions about it.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a comment?
No, I want to see where she goes from here.
It gets weirder.
Yeah.
You will find out in due time. Until then,
like, what does that mean? Ideally, if you're wearing a wig or if you're wearing a weave or hair extensions, ideally, I'll never find out. Like, like, it's not like, oh, surprise. On the one hand, you say, don't ask about it. But then on the other hand, she's saying, eventually there'll be a reveal and I'll tell you. It's really, really strange. This is a TED Talk.
It's like trying to have I don't know, man. This sounds so weird because if you got a good weave done, people specialize in that stuff. Maybe you want to go use her barber or beautician, right? That makes sense. Like, where did you get that? I would like that service too, but what do I know?
respect the mystery.
Respect the mystery.
Rule number 3, do feel free to compliment black women's hair. Black hair looks like this, and this, and this, and this. And all of these styles are beautiful. Instead of saying, you change your hair every week, try saying, I really like how you can rock so many styles, or a simple I like your hair will get the job done. When we follow these rules of cultural competency, we create a foundation of acceptance for black women to be their truest, most authentic selves. We tear down traces of racism and prejudice that exist in our systems, and we build, and we build, and we build black women up, brick by brick, hair strand by hair strand, until we all have a crown that is exalted high.
We build them up, brick by brick, hair strand by hair strand.
But don't ask if it's a weave.
I thought this was a joke. When I first watched this, I was sure that this was like a joke. But no, she earnestly believes that the front lines of fighting oppression is like hair.
Even the audience is sitting there kind of like, what? Like, you can hear them out
Yeah.
there. Like,
Yeah, it's there's a little bit more left.
Because that is social justice.
That's social justice.
That is cultural appreciation. That is the love in my grandmother's shaky hands as she pressed my hair. That is the patience of my mother as she braided and twisted and combed and curled my coils. That is the perseverance that lives inside me, because like my hair, I am strong and defiant and rebellion. And regardless of what comes my way, I stand up. Black women, like our roots, we must stand up in the face of adversity and demand a seat at the table.
I don't even know what this is.
This is so bad. This is so bad. Oh,
Like, I would be embarrassed if I watched a video of me doing this later. I would be like,
nope. She shared it. She shared it on her social.
wow, that's
So
wow.
again, I agree. Don't touch anyone's hair. But she says don't touch black people's hair. She didn't say don't touch anyone's hair.
I don't want to touch anybody's hair, but okay.
Don't
touch black people's hair.
accuse someone of wearing a wig or a toupee or a weave or extension. Again, that's a general rule of thumb.
Is that only if they're black or can they be white? Because if I see a white guy with a toupee, be like,
she's talking about weave. She didn't mention toupees.
Yeah.
So it might just be that you can't.
I've seen some bad toupees.
Yeah.
Like,
you can't touch them. I don't know. Are we allowed to touch them? I don't know. But then the other part is don't express curiosity and say, you change your hairstyle every week. That's interesting. She says, no, instead you have to say, I like your hair.
But what if you don't like it? Are you allowed to not like the hair? Because there's some weird hairstyles I've seen out there.
Yeah.
On everybody, right?
We got GH. We got GH back. Why do we care about some random TED Talk grievances? No, it's not random. It's not grievance. This woman is at the center of a big controversy in Ole Miss that just got a kid expelled from his frat, and the NAACP is trying to get 3 kids expelled from the university for making fun of her after she busted through the barricades at the protest like the Kool-Aid man and tried to rile them up. So she has kind of come out of this whole thing unscathed. And so it's important to show that in a world where monkey noises, alleged monkey noises, are enough to get someone expelled, it's interesting to understand the other side's worldview. What did she do to prompt that? And you see here, there's a very core belief on display. They gave her a TED Talk and she talked about this.
Yeah.
It's interesting to understand where this is coming from. Since the other side, all the other side does, we covered this too. The other side has gone out of their way to brand everyone at that protest a white supremacist. They're all white supremacists. But no, I'm bad for watching a little clip of a TED Talk to understand who the person is on the other side. It's not grievances. It's actually doing the due diligence and understanding who they are, what they believe, rather than filling in the blanks with your own assumptions. Because you know what they say about what happens when you assume. So no, we're not going to assume. We're going to actually do the hard work and watch this random TED Talk to learn how the woman who instigated this entire affair believes you're a racist if you dare do anything other than tell her that her hair looks nice.
I'm just glad.
So we're going to go with this.
I like it. Because, you should tell all your friends about us. Share it.
Yeah.
Like,
share,
subscribe.
tell your friends.
Tell as many of your friends as you can about it, what you saw here today.
So you watch that. You watch that. And you understand. The other side's not thinking about that. Those frat boys have the American flag. Let's sing the Star Spangled Banner. Let's drown out the 24 leftists at Ole Miss who want to make an encampment. Well, let's drown them out. Let's have a little party. Go back, drink some brewskis. And they got into an altercation, verbal altercation, with a woman who is so committed to this, so engulfed in this, that she gave a TED Talk on racist microaggressions about weaves and hair extensions. It's just, it's a weird world we live in.
Yeah. Of all the things that if you had 10 minutes to give a TED Talk about, that's what she picked. Right? I probably wouldn't have gone with that kind of subject matter if I had, the attention of anybody that watches those TED Talks. I might have talked about like the spiral national debt, right? the replacement theory stuff, like importance.
Yeah. It's fine if she wants to talk about structural institutional racism. That's fine. I've done shows on this before. Personally, I disagree with the argument that there is structural and institutional racism, especially in today's day and age, where there are structures and institutions literally designed to do the opposite. Like there are banking programs designed to give African Americans loans that white people don't qualify for, right?
Yeah.
So if the banking system was institutionally racist, you would expect black people to be left out of those discussions, right? So you could have legitimate arguments about that. But basically what this woman
did with her TED talk is people don't like my hair. It's always beautiful. It will always be beautiful. You must say that it's beautiful. If you do anything else, you are a racist. You are a racist.
I'm an anthropologist. You know that, right, Max?
Yeah.
And if you believe in evolution, which is just a theory, which I always tell everyone, it's a theory, not a law. We are primates. And like all primates, we make noises.
Ooh,
it is part of what we do. It's called vocalization. And we use it in
Ooh.
lots of different ways.
Yeah.
And if you go to the primate house at any zoo and you just start making noises, what happens?
Yeah.
Everybody jumps in. You can get the whole room going, right?
Yeah.
It's nothing new. It's nothing racist. People have been using vocalizations all over the world. Tribes in Africa, Native Americans especially. They have songs that come from it. It's why we had music, right?
Yeah. Have you ever seen the videos? A little off topic. Have you ever seen the videos of people doing close up sleight of hand magic?
Yeah.
In the gorilla enclosure.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
It blows their mind. And so it's
and it sets them off.
Yeah, it's really cool because it shows just how close they are. Because you do that to a dog doesn't care. Cat doesn't care.
Right.
But you
they
can actually
think it did disappear.
You can actually see the gears turning.
Mm-hmm.
And the object, the part of that deals with object permanence, like here it is, now it's gone. That's one of the elements that many people say would be necessary for sentience, right? So you talk about what makes a human a human. One of the characteristics is that they're sentient. They understand who they are. They understand that they are a person in a bigger system and that they have a place in the world. Object permanence is a big part of that. Part of it's also like looking in a mirror. So like they say that babies don't have sentience, and at least in that definition, until they can look in the mirror and recognize that it's themselves, right?
Yeah.
And there are very few animals where that's the case very early on. So are you saying that there's going to be some poop flinging? Because when you say that we're all monkeys.
No, we're primates.
That seems
monkeys and New World primates versus Old World primates, right? Monkeys
okay, fine. Apes, gorillas, orangutans.
Yeah,
fine.
that's where humans fall into.
Fine. We're not going to see any poop fling.
I don't know. I've seen the Democrats throw a lot of shit. So I mean, we see a lot of slinging. Like GH just slings like poop and hopes that it works and sticks, and it's kind of hilarious to watch the meltdown from that guy. I mean, he tries with the personal attacks. It's he's probably some sort of plant or somebody that really hates us from the last gig. Which who's winning? He's watching. We're talking.
Yeah. No, like, comment, share.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered everything. I wanted to do this because it moves at 100 miles an hour. This kid does monkey noises for 1.2 seconds in a video. And all of a sudden he's kicked out of his frat. They want him kicked out of school. They want everyone else. They want other people kicked out of school just because they wore American flag overalls. And were filming and chanting, yeah. You go so fast and there's such a rush to judgment. No one ever pumps the brakes and really says, okay, what actually happened here? And it's stunning that over a weekend, like they didn't even wait for the next business day. It was over the weekend. They kicked him out of his frat.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a home anymore. He was evicted from his home because one side said this is racist. Didn't really explain it. It just said, okay, it is. It is. Totally is. We deserve better than that complete and total rush to judgment. And the reason they don't actually slow down and look at what's happening is if they did, their narrative would completely fall apart.
Yeah.
If you dared show the other angles, you would see that this woman was the one who marched towards the barricade, crossed the barricade, defied the police, and was instigating, giving the kids the finger, right? As long as you don't show that, you can get away with this narrative that the mob of white supremacists singled her out. Whereas actually they were just there singing the Star Spangled Banner, and she came to them trying to start some shit.
Doesn't fit the narrative.
No.
Doesn't fit the narrative.
I do think, though, that if these kids in this shot, Bishop Talbert Swan, he should probably lawyer up. The people like him should probably lawyer up.
Yeah.
Because to paint with that broad of a brush and to declare that they are white supremacists, a gang of white supremacist thugs, evidence that is not, facts that are not in evidence. Say what you want about JP. You can say what you want. You can interpret that as monkey noise. It's fine. But to brand the entire group of people as white supremacists, I think we're gonna have a Covington Catholic situation on our hands. I think there's gonna be some defamation lawsuits coming. So we'll see.
Just when we thought we got away from defamation lawsuits.
And that's also, people ask, Wax, why are you spending so much time going so in depth? Our experience with this stuff is if you assume anything, if you leave anything to the audience to fill in the blanks, they're going to run with it. So you make a claim, you back it up. You make a claim, you back it up. If you can't back it up, you don't make the claim. Not exactly conducive for short clips, but it's important in the world where there are $100 million lawsuits floating around in our orbit.
I know.
Gotta do it. All right. Well, that's it for this episode. If you like the podcast, like, comment, just like GH. Obviously, he's subscribed. He comes back every week.
Yeah.
We love you, GH. Come back.
Yeah,
Bring your
appreciate
friends.
all that you do.
We go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Rumble. We predominantly on Rumble. He's like, oh, you don't have a lot of YouTube. No, we don't. YouTube, Rumble, and we're also on Twitter. So follow us there. We also have the audio podcast that's available pretty much everywhere there is audio podcasts. There are audio podcasts. So subscribe there. Even if you watch us live, subscribe. It'll auto download. That way, if you miss an episode, you can listen on your commute or as you're driving around. That's it for this edition of the podcast. My name is Max McGuire.
I'm Josh Hammerling.
Remember, everyone, the fight to take back our country is not over yet, but the only way we win is if we all stand and fight together. See you next time.
See you next time.